you should already know that that information might be compromised. I mean, people that put out, even if they control it and set privacy settings, you have to think about that there's always vulnerabilities in these websites. Even the staff at Facebook, for example, have access to your stuff. And just be careful about what you put on social networks. That's what I would really say. Oh, there we go. The volume is much better. There was a vulnerability in Facebook, actually, where you could actually see the friends of anybody, regardless if you were authorized or not. And they fixed that bug. I don't know if it was published, but I'm familiar with it. So, myself, when I deal with social networks, I don't put anything, even if it's in my close circle of friends, anything I consider super sensitive. I just simply don't put it out there, because it's too risky. Yes. Why not? Which was volume was up here. I think I said volume. Can you set that? There we go. Go ahead. There's a question over here. That's not a question.
See, I can speak in English.
Oh, okay, perfect. So can I.
I just wanted to ask, you mentioned hard passwords. When the passwords get harder, people tend to write them down or something. Do you think it's more dangerous if a company or something enforces harder password policies, which might make people write them down, or allow some simpler passwords that people might memorize and a social engineer would have to engineer them to get the password?
Right. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I've seen passwords at even one company I was doing some work at where it was impossible to remember. I actually had to write it down. So I think you have to strike a balance that's reasonable. The company's understanding that if you make it too complex, the passwords will be written down. What can I suggest? Well, I wouldn't use dictionary words. I wouldn't enforce just having a number either, because what usually people do in our analysis of passwords is what they'll do is they'll choose a dictionary word and just append a number. But maybe developing the complexity policy in such a way where you set the complexity rules in a way where people could create passwords that don't have to be so complex that they actually can remember them. Like maybe even chaining two real words together. Like MCI, which was a big company, it was a telecommunications company. They had an interesting way of doing passwords. They would use consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. What that does is, if you work that out, that creates a pronounceable, rememberable password, and people don't have to write it down. But if people know that your company uses that process for choosing passwords, well, the entropy of the password space is significantly reduced. Right? So, you have pros and cons on each side of it. I like going away from static passwords. I like two-form factor authentication, actually. Like your RSA security, one-time passwords. I don't really like static passwords, except for very simple things, to access stuff that's not sensitive. Yes, English or Spanish?
English.
Okay.
The first, a policeman is waiting me in the exit, so it's not a problem. No, it's a joke. So, Mr. Mitnick, what do you think about the cloud computing? The different companies that offered the different service to store the data of the different company that migrate to their service have enough the sufficient security. The different companies that use cloud computing service feel secure to store the data
Yeah.
cloud.
No,
What do you
I
think about
understand.
this?
You know, I like the idea of storing my corporate data outside my company, but I can understand, you know, I mean, cloud computing is, you know, significantly beneficial. I guess you have to really measure, you know, it's a company by company decision whether or not they want to go to cloud computing. There's security risks to both sides. I mean, you have security problems with cloud computing, and you have security problems without it. Well, you know, Google could be considered a cloud, Amazon's a cloud. All you need is credentials, for example, to get, you know, access to information in the cloud. Like, for example, was it Facebook or one of these social networking companies had their Google Docs stolen? And they were in the cloud. You know, so you still have security concerns and security considerations. You know, that might be solved, some of it might be solved through encryption. So you don't trust, you know, your sensitive data in the cloud unless it's encrypted. You know, but there's problems with both. Security issues with both sides, on both sides of the coin.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.